Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Politics Now. We're talking about modern politics in modern America. And today, we're going to be discussing how the new third parties joining the race and just third parties in general in 2024 may affect Joe Biden's campaign and definitely hinder it and definitely weaken his chance from ever getting to up to 270 electoral votes. So, yeah, let's get into that. So, Biden recently hasn't been doing too well in polling, especially when you're talking about the general election and just a one-to-one matchup against Trump. He has not been polling that well. He's been down pretty much ever since around mid-September, and it is not really looking like he's gonna ever get back up just with the general trends of how the data is looking. And really, Biden is in a very weak position on a lot of key issues that are going to decide the election, and mostly the key issues that are deciding who will win a lot of these swing states that you need to win if you are ever going to become president, or in Joe Biden's case, win a second term, and also for Trump. So, Biden, he's not doing well, and he's already in a weak position, even just with only Trump and in a one-to-one matchup where Trump is actually beating him in the polls when he never does well in the polls. Historically, the polls have always been kind of shifted towards the Democrats' favor, but Trump now, he's doing not only pretty good but well in the polls, and he has a comfortable lead that he's held for quite a while. He's had entire pockets of months on end, almost half a year at one point, where he was beating Biden and then Biden was beating him for a little bit, and now we're in a second pocket of Trump having a long stretch of time where he's beating Biden by almost a point, which is pretty good for him considering how he was kind of up in 2016 for maybe 2 weeks. He was never up in 2020. And the fact that he's making this such a tight race in the general election polls, well, that shows that one, he's in a stronger position than 2020 and 2016. And also, Biden isn't exactly going to have an easy time getting reelected or even getting close to being reelected in 2024. But the problem for Biden, and this is a big problem for him, outside of his unpopularity, outside of his disapproval on major issues that a lot of voters are going to be deciding their vote just purely based on those, third parties come in, and most of the third parties who are running in 2024 are going to steal votes away from Biden. RFK Jr., it's debated whether he takes more from Trump than Biden, but even if he takes more, like 2% more from Trump than Biden, he still takes a decent amount from Biden, regardless if you think he takes more from Trump or takes more from Biden. He still takes a decent amount from Biden, and even if he takes more away from Trump, the other third parties are going to make up the fact that no, they're going to take some more votes away from Biden, where you have one, the Green Party, you have the no labels, and now you have candidates who are relatively popular with a lot of the more independent Democrat voters, more of the Bernie Sanders type people, where they're going to steal a lot more votes away from Biden than they are going to steal from Trump. And the first guy is Joe Manchin of West Virginia. He said that he wasn't going to run for the Senate in 2024, which that pretty much gives the Republicans the Senate, or at least a 50-50 split, where it's pretty much down to whoever wins the presidency, which Trump is currently up. So they have a pretty decent shot at winning control of the Senate. And since he's not running in the Senate, there is a very, very high probability that instead of running for the Senate, he runs for the no labels because he is very popular in that party. And also, he's just popular in general. I mean, you kind of have to be popular if you're going to be a Democrat senator in a deep red state. But he might run for the no labels, and it is very, very likely that he does. I mean, why would you not run for another Senate election if you're planning to not join the no labels and run against Biden, which the fact that he's not running, that raises a few alarm bells where it's pretty likely that he's going to run for the no labels and he's going to win the nomination. And if he runs for the no labels, wins the nomination, and then starts to run for president all the way up to election day, he is going to steal 1 to 2% away from Biden, which in a lot of these swing states, even if RFK affects Trump more, that is going to decide so many swing states where it is a close call, which even looking at the polling where all these third parties are accounted for, Trump is still up in most of them. There's one state where, in a lot of these polling, where it's either a tie or Biden's up by barely any points. But outside of that, Trump is up in high single digits or mid single digits in a lot of these states, which the third parties, they are definitely contributing to that because Georgia, I I originally thought that was going to be more of a Biden leaning state, but with the third parties now, they might actually give it to Trump by a pretty decent margin. And Arizona, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Virginia, a lot of these states which they would have gone more so to Trump or Biden by higher margins if third parties weren't involved. But now that the third parties are flooding in, and we have a ton of them now, where they're mostly left leaning, they are definitely giving Trump a very, very huge advantage in a lot of these states, which they're definitely shifting it a lot more. Like, you could definitely put Wisconsin in the same category as North Carolina. And North Carolina went for Trump in 2020, even despite all the other swing states going for Biden. So if Wisconsin is in the same territory as that, and most likely Nevada is too, then he already has most of the electoral votes that he needs. He just needs Pennsylvania, and then he's got his 270. So Biden, all these third parties are definitely going to hurt him in this election. And one of the biggest ones that are is going to hurt him because Joe Manchin, it's not entirely clear that he was going to join the race because he might just not run at all in 2024 for anything. Outside of RFK, one of the biggest players that is going to take votes away from Biden is Jill Stein. Jill Stein, she ran in 2016 for the Green Party. She took quite a few votes away from Hillary Clinton, which lost her states like Wisconsin, Michigan, even Pennsylvania. A lot of these key states that led to Trump winning 2016, Jill Stein spoiled it enough that Trump was able to go out there and win. Could Trump still have won 2016 even without Jill Stein? Yeah, probably. But Jill Stein, she still definitely helped. And stuff like Michigan probably wouldn't have gone red if Jill Stein wasn't there to spoil. And the fact that she's running in 2024 is also a major indicator because Jill Stein and just the Green Party in general, they are definitely the party of the more Bernie Sanders types people, which that's what they served in 2016, and they will likely serve that in 2024, where they're going to steal a lot of the votes away from the more like Bernie Sanders types Democrats who would normally just default vote for Joe Biden, but because she's on the ticket and a lot of these other third parties are on the ticket, yeah, they might go for a lot of these other third parties than just defaulting for Joe Biden. And RFK, Joe Manchin are over here also, and they're going to steal a lot more of the independent, left leaning people, and all of those people would normally just vote for Joe Biden, but these third parties are now giving them different options, and they don't really like Joe, but they would probably vote for him even if it was a two-way race. But now there's third parties here, and they agree with them a lot more, and they aren't a creepy old man who has done really nothing for them for 4 years. So they're definitely going to get around a decent portion of the vote. I'd say all the third parties together are probably going to get around 10-15%, which the fact that most of them are left leaning and pretty much all of them are left leaning outside of the libertarians, but libertarians aren't exactly running a great campaign or any great candidates who will steal votes away from Trump all that much. So most of the third parties, they're left leaning and they're going to steal the votes away from Joe Biden. How does that affect the race? Well, it gives Trump Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, maybe even Virginia or New Hampshire or Maine at large. A lot of these very, very tight elections or like leaning Democrat states, they are going to go Republican if these trends keep playing out because third parties, they're going to decide 2024 as much as Joe Biden's popularity is going to decide it. And Joe, he's not in a popular position. He's not in a great position on a lot of these issues, and he has to deal with third parties and Donald Trump all at the same time, while also fighting back against people who see him as an old creepy weirdo who just so happens to be in the White House and has really done nothing for anybody but himself. And he's going to have to fight that and weave through that, which looking at Joe, looking how old he is and how frankly embarrassing he is, he can't physically do that. He can't physically fight like five third party candidates all at once while also fighting the guy who won 2016, is a former president, popular in his party, and also is a master at running a campaign all by himself. So, Joe, he is not going to have a great time. And you understand why the Democrats are going to try and replace him or are trying to replace him right now. And the fact is that he is a terrible option if you want to win a presidential election. But really looking at all the candidates who could be potential Democrat presidential tickets for 2024, none of them are really better than Joe Biden. And if none of them are better than Joe, then you are fucked. Democrats are fucked for 2024. And they are going to need to work their ass off or pull something off if they're ever going to win a second term for Joe Biden or even a term for any other Democrat running in 2024. So, yeah, if you think third parties will mostly steal from Biden, leave it in the comments below. If you think third parties will mostly steal from Trump and give Biden the edge, leave it in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.